Hi, welcome everyone. I am Dr. Rajkumar from School of Physics and Material Science, Thapar Institute, Patiala. In this video, we will discuss about Monte Carlo simulations. The topics which are to be covered in this video are Monte Carlo simulation, the buffer needle experiment, and an example of Monte Carlo simulation. So, let us begin with the history of Monte Carlo simulation. So, these simulations are named after the gambling hotspot in Monaco, since chance and random outcomes are central to the modeling technique, much as they are to games like roulette, dice, and slot machines. So it came from the name came from that place. The technique was first developed by Professor Ulam, a mathematician who worked on Manhattan Project in USA. After the war, World War, while recovering from the brain surgery, Ulam entertained himself by playing countless games of solitaire. He became interested in plotting the outcome of each of these games in order to observe their distribution and determine the probability of winning. After he shared his idea with Professor John von Neumann, the two professors they collaborated to develop the Monte Carlo simulation. So this was the history of Monte Carlo simulation. Next, we move on to Monte Carlo simulation. Now, simulation is the process of designing a model of a real system and conducting experiment with this model developed for the purpose of understanding the behavior for the operation of system. That is, it is a duplication of original system and it is used for understanding the implementation of system. Also, Monte Carlo simulations are used to model the probability of different outcome in a process that cannot easily be predicted due to the intervention of random variables. It is a technique used to understand the impact of risk and uncertainty in prediction and forecasting models as well. One of the example is like in nuclear physics, if you have an experiment which is not feasible economically or practically, then you can perform that kind of experiment using Monte Carlo simulation. But in that case, you have to design the model in such a way that all the geometry of the detector, nuclear detector, should be defined in terms of mathematical equations. All the events which you can think they can occur during this process and can be detected with the nuclear detector, they should be assigned with a range of random numbers, and outcome should be analyzed accordingly. Okay. So, let us discuss the Monte Carlo simulation of buffer needle. Buffer needle is a probability problem originally from 18th century. So, this experiment is based on the probability. The problem revolves around needles of a given length and a floor marked with infinite parallel lines, each equidistant from each other, as shown in this figure. So, we have infinite parallel lines extended in minus infinity as well as plus infinity, and we have a needle of a given length. So, we have to calculate the probability that whether this needle is intersecting these lines or not. So, this is all about this buffer needle experiment. So, the crux is we have to calculate the probability that this needle is intersecting the line or not. The goal is to determine the probability that needle randomly thrown anywhere on the floor intersects one of those lines based upon length of the needle and distance between lines of the on the floor. So, this is the prerequisite of buffer needle experiment, that you have given with the set of parallel lines and a needle of a given length. Now, let us discuss about the coordinates of this experiment, the buffer needle experiment. So mathematically, the position and orientation of needle thrown onto the floor can be described by Cartesian coordinates x and y, obviously, uh, of its center. So these x and y, they are coordinate of the center of the needle and the angle theta it makes with the vertical. Okay, so you can have any choice of angle either with the vertical or horizontal in any direction, but uh, once it is fixed, so you have to take that choice of angle. Now the floor can be described by the distance L between successive parallel lines repeating in x direction, uh, where for a given set of parallel line we have a distance in between or x coordinate in between 0 and L, since L is length of needle as well. Note that y coordinate of needle does not influence whether it intersects a line or not on the floor. So it doesn't matter what the y coordinate is. So in this experiment only x coordinate matters. Therefore, we do not need to consider it for our calculation. We only need to keep track of x coordinate and angle theta. So second coordinate is angle theta of the needle during simulation. Okay. The range of angle lies in between 0 and pi in the calculation. So the needle can fall in any of 0 to pi direction. Okay, whereas pi to 2 pi they are similar to 0 to pi. So that is why we have considered the range of theta in between 0 and pi. Now let us define the state of the needle. Uh, Length of the needle is already explained, is or we'll explain later on in the example. So this first move on to state of the needle. The state of the needle, say S, is defined by the two coordinates now, x and theta. X lies in between 0 and L, the separation between the two parallel lines, and theta lies between 0 to pi. So it can fall on the floor in any direction in between 0 and pi. Randomly throwing a needle on the floor in our simulation is equivalent to drawing a uniformly distributed sample from state space S. Okay. Now, conditions for needle to intersect a line or not. Take the x coordinate for the center of the needle. So we define like this. This is the x coordinate of the center of the needle, and given that length of the needle is L, it is capital L. Okay, and separation between these two lines is small l. Okay, so now geometry is clear. So this x coordinate is of center, and this is angle theta, and length of the needle is capital L, and these two lines they are separated by distance small l. Okay, then add or subtract half of the length of the projection of needle onto x-axis. So what is the projection of if this is angle theta, this is will also be theta, and what is the projection of this side onto the x-axis. So this is x-axis because in previous slide we have shown parallel lines, the vertical parallel lines that I have rotated to made it horizontal. So we can also rotate again for vertical parallel lines. So if this is x-axis, then what is the projection of this length, which is L by 2, because this is the center of the needle. So this length will be L by 2 and angle is theta. So projection will be L by 2 sine theta. Okay. So then add or subtract half of the length of projection of needle onto x-axis, which is L by 2 sine theta. This generate two conditions for whether or not a needle crosses a line. So now we have two conditions. First case is whether the line touches or intersect this upper line, or whether the needle intersect the lower line. So we have two conditions now. A needle with coordinate x and theta intersect a line if and only if x plus L by 2 sine theta is greater than equal to L. So x if uh, this much distance is L by 2 sine theta. If x plus L by 2 sine theta, say it is greater than equal to L, small l, it will intersect the upper line. And if x minus L by 2 sine theta, for this bottom side, if it is less than equal to 0, that is negative for this area and 0 for this line, then it can intersect, this needle can intersect this line as well. So we have two conditions. All right. Now let us calculate the probability analytically, probability that needle intersect or not. To analytically obtain the probability of a needle intersecting a line, we can look at fraction of the state space that leads to a needle intersecting a line. Okay, so we can show the state space S of the needle in the coordinate x and theta plane graphically. So this is the graphical representation of state space, and shade the region of state space that results in needle intersecting the lines. So these blue dots, they represent the line intersecting needle in upper part as well as in bottom part, and these red dots, they represent that the needle is not intersecting the line at all. So these are randomly generated needles in their state space, with blue dots showing needle that intersecting a line on the floor. Okay, so it is clear from this graph that if theta lies in between 0 and pi, uh, uh, the probability that line is intersected by the needle is very less as compared to when theta is pi by 2. So uh, this on x-axis scale we have 0 to pi instead of these numbers. So 0 to pi, then at pi by 2 it will be maximum, and and it is a appears to be a lesser probability of intersecting a line than not intersecting a line. So this is the graphical representation of state space S of the needle when needles are randomly thrown onto the floor. So these regions are described by x plus L by 2 sine theta greater than or equal to L, this region, and x minus L by 2 sine theta less than or equal to 0. So these are two conditions, and these two conditions represent the these two areas respectively. The total areas of these regions divided by total area of state space is then probability of needle intersecting a line. So for probability of a needle to intersect a line is equal to favorable outcome divided by total number of trial performed. So by this way we can calculate probability of intersection. So let us move on to that one. I have redrawn the shape, graphical representation of state space. These two are lines, vertical lines. In this figure, I have explained them as horizontal lines. They are separated by distance small l, and these are two semicircles which represent the favorable outcome. So this corresponding to L minus capital L by 2 sine theta, and this is the region only L by 2 sine theta. So this height is L by 2, and this height is L minus small l minus capital L by 2 to the max. Okay, so depending upon theta, they can change their magnitude here as well as here. So now the area of total state space of the needle is given by AT, represents total area. If we integrate over entire space over theta and x, theta varies from 0 to pi, x varies from 0 to L, dx dl, it simply gives us L into pi. So L is the height of this rectangle, and pi is the length of this rectangle. So area is simply L into pi. There is no need of integration as well. So the area of state space satisfying x minus L by 2 sine theta less than or equal to 0, if the bottom condition, this area is, if you have to calculate the area of this region, you have to integrate this region. So the function is L by 2 sine theta, you have to integrate with respect to theta. theta varies from 0 to pi, it gives you L. Okay, so area of state space satisfying this condition is L. Now area of state space satisfying condition x plus L by 2 sine theta is equal greater than equal to L is this one, the upper one. So how we can calculate it? We have total area. If we subtract this much area, then we are left with the upper part of this region. Okay, so L d theta, theta from 0 to pi, this is total area, which is L pi, and the equation for this curve is L minus capital L by 2 sine theta. So if we have to calculate area under this curve, we have to integrate it. So simply we integrate L minus L by 2 sine theta over 0 to pi d theta, which on simplification will give us L. So we have used the concept of area under the curve by using integration. Okay, so we have calculated the area of these regions. Now the total area of needle state space that results in intersection with the line on the floor is, its area is L, we have deduced, and bottom area is also L, so total area becomes L plus L 2L simply. So the probability of needle falling on a line is A1 plus A2 divided by total area. So A1 plus A2 is 2L, total area is L pi. So our probability is now 2L divided by L pi. So simply this is the equation we get from the mathematics of buffer needle experiment. Now we can, if we consider that length of needle and spacing between parallel line is unity. Now if we consider that small n and capital L, they are same and they are equal to 1, the probability reduces to p by 2 pi, p is equal to 2 by pi. Okay, from this equation we can calculate pi is equal to 2 by p. So if we perform an experiment with the needle of unit length and onto a floor which has a equispaced vertical lines, parallel vertical lines, such that their separation is also 1 unit as that of length of the needle. So if we perform or if we throw needle onto the floor, we can actually calculate or estimate the value of pi. Okay, this is the beauty of this experiment. Now the probability is equal to number of hits divided by total number of needles. Number of hits is the number of intersections. From the above equations, the value of pi can be calculated using Monte Carlo method, which is given by p is equal to 2 into total number of needles divided by number of hits. So this is the final equation for buffer needle experiment. Now just we have to perform the experiment. We have to put the value of number of hits and total number of needles. We will get approximate value of pi. Now we have to simulate the needle's angle and its position of center from uniform distribution of random numbers. So this is the thing left for estimating the value of pi. Next, the sample position of center of needle is compared to the sample projection of half the length of the needle. Okay, so this is to check the condition whether the needle is intersecting the line or not. If position of center is less or equal to sample projection of half the length of the needle, that is, the needle is considered as touching the parallel line. So this we have to check the condition and we have applied the condition whether or not it is touching or not, or intersecting or not. Thus hits counter is incremented by 1 hit, else no hit is scored. So if the line is needle is intersected by the line, you have to increment the hit counter by 1, or else there will be no increment if the needle is not intersecting the line at all. Then new throw of needle is sampled again. Okay, so once you have thrown say 100 needles, you have to repeat the experiment with another set of 100 and so on for better accuracy. After n trials, the number of hits n is used to calculate probability p and value of pi. Okay, so this was the experiment about buffer needle for estimating the value of pi. Next, let us consider a numerical for simulating the weather of a city for next 10 days. Okay, so we have to predict the weather of a city. Numerical is the occurrence of rain in the city on the day depends on whether or not it rained on previous day. Generally, if it rained on previous day, the rain distribution is which is given. Uh, even is Event is no rain, 1 centimeter rain, 2 centimeter, 4, 5, and 5 centimeter rain. So the probability corresponding to that event is, if no rain probability is 0.5, 1 centimeter is 0.25, 2 centimeter is 0.15, then 0.05, 0.03, and 0.02. So now if it did not rain on previous day, the rain distribution is redistributed, and it is given that for the event of no rain, probability is 0.75. You see now no rain probability is increased as compared to the previous one. Now 1 centimeter rain, it has probability of 0.15, 2 centimeter is 0.06, and 3 centimeter is 0.04. So this is the distribution of probability for various events if it rained in the previous day and if it didn't rain on the previous day in a particular city. Now simulate the city's weather for next 10 days and determine the total days without rain as well as total rainfall during the period. So this is the numerical. You have to do certain Monte Carlo simulation for finding the answer. So let us perform this experiment. Now we have to use the following random numbers for simulation. So these random numbers are given. So if we are solving the numerical on a paper, so we need at least random numbers for the beginning. We are not using computers for solving this problem. Just for understanding the concept of Monte Carlo simulation, we are solving this numerical manually. So we need manual random numbers. So these 10 random numbers are given to us for simulating the weather. Now also a condition is given that assume that for the first day of the simulation it had not rained the day before. Okay. So first step is previous rain distribution. If it rained, so we have a table. In the table we have the event given, no rain up to 5 centimeter rain we have given, and corresponding probability is this one. So in first step we have to calculate the cumulative probability. Cumulative probability is sum of probability of previous days as well. So first one is 0.5. So there is no previous day, so it is the first event. So we have probability 0.5. The next probability is 0.25. Its cumulative probability is 0.5 plus 0.25, which is 0.75. Then again, so on. We go on calculating the cumulative probability, which gives 0.9, 0.95, 0.98, and up to 1. So this is a test as well, whether your numerical or whether your numbers are coming right or not, that cumulative probability should not be greater than 1 in any case in last. So we have started with probability of 0.5 and we have reached up to 1. Okay, so cumulative, this is all about cumulative probability. Then we have to match this cumulative probability with the random number range as well. For example, if cumulative probability is 0.5 or 0.50, we say that, then range of random number in between 0 to 99 we have given, then range in between 0 to 49, less than 1, or approximately, these are approximately 50 numbers. So if random number lie in between, the event is no rain with cumulative probability 0.5. Next, 50 to 74. So this is the range of number. How we decide it? We have left up to 49, then we have start with 50, and the maximum range in this case is less than 1 point from 75. Okay, so up to 74 here. Then we have left at 74. For next we have start with 75, and where to stop? 1 less than 90. Why we are reducing 1? Because we have started with 0. So actually 0 to 49 means there are 50 number. So same description follows for all of the numbers. So here we have the probability up to 89. We have left at 89. So again we have to match the random numbers with the probability. So it starts from 90 up to 94. Then 95 to 97 and 98 to 99. So we have a complete range of random numbers between 0 to 99, and we have matched these ranges as per their probability. Okay, so it should not like that. If no rain probability is 0.5, so it means you have to match more random numbers corresponding to this. It is not like that, if there is a probability, this is half probability at least, 1 by 2 probability, so you have to give more number to this probability as compared to this 0.02, which has very less probability. So you cannot assign equal number of probability to this one and to this one as well. So they should be matched according to their probability. Okay, so this is the cumulative probability and matching of random number ranges for previous day. If it rains, for previous day, if it did not rain, the rain distribution, again with this table was given to us, no rain to 3 centimeter rain and corresponding probabilities. Okay, again we have to find the cumulative probability. So following the previous table, we have again calculated the cumulative probability here, 0.75, 0.9, 0.96 and 1. We keep on adding the previous probabilities, and we have to again match the random number range with this cumulative probability. So numbers start from 0 and end at 99. So it should be from 0 to 1 less than 75. So 0 to 74. Then we have left at 74. So next is 75 up to 89. Then 90 up to 95. Then 95 to 99. Here also we note that cumulative probability is up to 1 only. So probability should not increase 1. So we have matched the random numbers with their probability and events, corresponding events. So next step is simulate for 10 days using the given random numbers. So in the first column in this table, we have day number, so day 1 up to day 10, and random number are given to us in the numerical. So we have written those numbers. Now how we can decide that if random number 67 comes, there should be no rain or 1 centimeter or 5 centimeter. Remember, it is given to us in numerical that assume that it did not rain on previous day. So we are using the table if there is no rain on previous day. So we have used the distribution table. So if random number is 67, so 67 lies in the range of first row, 0 to 74. 67 lies in between this, so corresponding event is no rain. Again 63 lies again on the first row, no rain. 39 no rain. 55 no rain. 29 no rain. Then 78. Now 78 lies in second row in between 75 and 89, and corresponding event is 1 centimeter rain. So we have write 1 centimeter rain. So next random number is 70. 70 lies in for the event no rain, lies in between 0 to 74. So there is no rain. Again 6, there is no rain. And then random number 78, it corresponding to 1 centimeter rain, and 76 again corresponding to 1 centimeter rain. Okay, so these are events we have generated for each random number. Now the cumulative rain, since it had not rained on first 5 days, so there is no rain in first 5 days. Then on 6th day there is 1 centimeter rain, so cumulative rain is 1 centimeter. On 7th and 8th day there is no rain, so cumulative rain remains the same, 1 centimeter 1 centimeter. On 9th and 10th day there is rain of 1 centimeter each, so cumulative rain increase from 1 to 2 on 9th day and 2 to 3 on 10th day. So our during the stipulated simulated period, it did not rain on 5 out of 10 days. Okay, and the total rainfall during the period is 3 centimeter. So maximum rain is 3 centimeter. So is it true that it did not rain for 5 days? It did not rain for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So it should be 7 days. So keep in mind that you have to calculate not only the initial days, but you have to calculate in between days as well, in which there is no rain during the given simulated period. So there is no rain for 7 out of 10 days. Okay, so in this video we have discussed about Monte Carlo simulation. We have discussed in detail about buffer needle experiment. We have calculated the probability of intersection of needle with the vertical lines, and we have estimated the value of pi. We have explained why this buffer needle experiment is important, because it gives us estimate of value of pi just by throwing the needles onto the floor and doing certain mathematics. And then we have considered a numerical for predicting or forecasting the weather for next coming 10 days of a city. So thank you everyone. Thank you for watching this video.